Good morning, everybody. And as you can see, I'm in a new location today, which is basically just my back garden. So being school holidays, there's different things going on at home, which I'm sure is the same thing for you. And so hence the new location, because I've had to give up my usual location for my daughter's tutoring this week. So, and it kind of, I suppose, ties in a little bit with what we're talking about today, is that very often August can be a quiet month, or there's different things going on. We're not in our usual kind of routine. And sometimes this can create a little bit of anxiety for people, certainly if you're perhaps not as busy as normal, and your weekly income is not as high as it is at other times in the year. That we can feel a little bit out of sorts. So the first thing really to say is, just when we have quieter time, don't panic. It's normal to have these rise and fall, these fluctuations in how busy we are, and actually to try and use the time and space we've been given to step back a little bit and really look at the big picture. Because when we're in our normal routine and we're busy and we're doing all the things, often we don't just have that breathing space to sort of sit back and contemplate and think, what's my vision for my life, for my business. Am I on track? We may have times where we perhaps look at our spreadsheets and check our accounts and think, are we on track that way? That's something that I do very regularly. But sometimes just having that space where we can just daydream a little bit and connect in with some of the bigger visions. And so that's what I wanted to look at today, is trying to connect in with ourselves and getting some kind of vision for what our dream teaching career would be. And so today we're not really focusing on the practical side. Those things can follow once you have a vision. And we really want to try and bypass our more intellectual side and really connect into that heart and soul side of ourselves, so that we can connect in with something that's really aligned with who we are, what we genuinely love and enjoy, and that would give us a dream, almost like a fantasy teaching career. So I'm going to encourage you today to really not be practical, to be as wild and fantastical as you want to be, to see what comes up for you in terms of your deeper held dreams about your teaching career. And so often when you ask the question, what would your dream teaching career look like, quite often what comes up initially, and it's probably true for all of us, is that we'd all say, oh, I'd love to earn double the money in half the time. And that's a fine goal to have, to see, is there a way of increasing your income and reducing your hours? But that's not so much the focus for today. Really what we're focusing on today is kind of the feeling, like what would it feel like in your day-to-day to have this dream career. So some of it might be about the number of hours you work, but really we're going to take money out of the equation, which might, if you've been watching a lot of my talks, you might be a bit surprised, because it's often something that I talk about a lot. But I think when we're just connecting into this heart and soul of what we really love and what we're passionate about, sometimes when we think about the money side of it, it can block our vision, because then it brings in our more intellectual side, which will be raising its hand saying, yeah, but what about, how would you price that? And how's this actually going to work? We don't really want to worry too much today about those practical things, about how you make it work. We're just looking for what our vision is. Then we can get practical afterwards. And I found this lovely quote by Tony Hsieh. I'm not sure how you pronounce the name. It's Hsieh. And he was the CEO of Zappos, which is a big clothing brand. And he was saying, chase the vision, not the money. The money will end up following you. And I think this is the thing. If we find something that really connects with who we are, and we have a vision for what we want to achieve, and and what we want to achieve is delivering something of real value to the world, then the money will come. And sometimes only thinking about the financial side of things can pull us away from our vision, because we might see something that seems to be a bit more lucrative and you think, oh, well, it makes sense for me to do this because it's more profitable than that. But then sometimes following those things, we can, in the long run, end up diluting our offering, because we might be doing loads of different things that aren't so connected. And we might be pulling ourselves away from what we really, truly love and desire. And so even though it may work on one sense of being financially successful, you may still just have this dissatisfaction because, there's other needs that you have that aren't being met. So this is what, hopefully you have a bit of time and space at the moment, to really think about or feel into what success and happiness means to you. So I'm going to invite you to think about, let's just say money's no object, like you've won the lottery, you're set for life, it doesn't matter about the money. Even if that were true, we still need purpose. We still need a reason to get up every morning. We still need to feel like there's a point to our life, that we, have some project we're working on, that we're doing something that's of value to our community. Everybody needs purpose, I think, to get satisfaction in life. So this is what we're focusing on now. So if you were starting from scratch, because this is the other thing, and I know I've got caught with it as well, is sometimes when I'm trying to think of a bigger vision, I'm starting with where I'm at, which is not a bad thing, but maybe looking at how do I tweak or improve what's already there. And there is a time and a place for that, but sometimes it's really useful to step back from all of that and maybe just wipe the slate clean. And that if you were starting from scratch now and you were to create the teaching career that you want, what would that look like? What would that feel like? So, and just imagine and assume that whatever you envisage is perfectly possible and it will come true. We want to try and kind of uproot some of these, more, yeah, but, these kind of blocks that can come up when we're trying to be visionary. And these things come up for good reason, because it might be another part of ourselves that's trying to protect us from, maybe some catastrophic failure. But we want to just create a little bubble where we're free to be as wildly imaginative as we want. And then it's not that we're going to, immediately try and put all of this into place and ditch everything we're already doing. But it's just creating that space where we can just freely envisage. And then when we have that, then we can look at more practical things. So maybe if you're free right now, just to get yourself comfortable, Just sitting, lying down, kneeling, wherever you are, and just settle and feel the ground beneath you. So whether that's through your sitting bones, through your feet, just feel that connection with the earth. Let your weight drop down. Let the breath be easy. And take your awareness down to your heart center, to your belly. It may help just to have a hand on each place. And feel the movement of the breath in your body. So I'm just going to ask a few questions to help prompt some vision for you. And I'd invite you to not think about the answer, but just see if something spontaneously comes. So the first question is, what do you love about teaching? Why do you love teaching yoga? What aspects of it are the things that you really enjoy, that you'd love to do more of? And how would you like to share yoga with the world? So there's many different ways of sharing yoga. It can be group classes, one-to-ones, retreats, online, in person. You could write a book. You could create videos. There could be something else altogether. So how do you want to share yoga? And then what impact or difference in the world do you want to make with the yoga that you share? And I think this is where we get our real job satisfaction, is the change or the transformation that we make for other people. So is there a specific difference that you want to make? And then lastly, how would you like, or what would be the perfect way that your yoga teaching blends with the rest of your life? So thinking about, that work-life balance in an ideal scenario, in your perfect dream fantasy teaching career. How is that fitting with the rest of your life? And taking one more deep breath in and release. Lovely. And then just slowly bringing yourself back into your space. Good. So hopefully some things came to mind then. Feel free to write them down. You might want to come back and redo this a few more times and see what comes up for you. But really, we're looking at finding our own version of what success is that's really aligned with who you are, with your values, with your life circumstances, with what you want, and what's in the community around you. And what I've noticed in my own career over the years and the people that I work with, it's been very interesting to me to meet people who I felt were really successful and were people that I was slightly envious of, in terms of how I perceived their life, their success. And when I get to know them on a more one-to-one basis, to discover a lot of dissatisfaction there, and that ironically they were looking at me with a similar sort of envy, for different reasons. So it's a very lovely client I had for a number of years. We worked one-to-one, very successful international lawyer working at government level, beautiful home, really success, like it looked like this amazing life. And of course there was lots there that she was very proud of, and there's parts of her job that really ticked a lot of boxes for her. But there was a whole other side to her that was not being met. And she was so sort of envious of me doing some, following a career that was really heart-led, that was, I guess, ticking all the boxes that she didn't have in her life. And so really it's looking inwards. I think sometimes when we look at other people, they may not feel as successful as we perceive them to be anyway, or their version of success is not really going to be the thing that really makes us happy and gives us everything that we want in our life. There's plenty of people who outwardly look super successful, but aren't that happy. And the converse is true as well. There might be people that society judge as not being hugely successful, but they're deeply content in their life because everything they do is aligned with who they are, and they have enough to be comfortable, and they have a balance that really works for them. And so it's finding that version of success that works for you, and to not get sidetracked maybe by some social ideas of what success means and what we feel we ought to be pursuing as a goal. It's finding what goals would work for you, for your family, for your life. And there was a lovely quote by Carl Jung, which I think is also a good summary of today. Said, your vision will only become clear when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. And I really like that idea, and it's very much connected with the little practice that we were doing today, is that we're not looking outside, for other people's, goals, ideas, guidelines. We need to look within first and really connect with what our visions are, what our needs are, what our values are, the things that really light us up and go, yeah, I would love to do that. That thing that really makes you sit up and you feel that expansion. Those are the things that we want to try and bring more into our life, rather than having a social idea of what success means or what an ideal teaching career means. And even if you achieved that, it probably wouldn't give you the satisfaction that you wanted, because it's maybe not doing the things that you really want to be doing, or it might be actively doing things that make you feel uncomfortable. So I would invite you to just take a little bit of time, maybe just going on a nice country walk. I find walking is a good thing for me, just to get visions and ideas. And it's getting out of our intellectual space for now and just really feeling into that dream space in the way that children are really capable of, having amazing imagination and connecting in with what lights them up. And when we can connect to that side of ourselves, then we can look at how we put that into practice. Then, there will be other talks about how you make some of these goals. What are the steps that you take to make that a reality? But you have to start with the vision, and it needs to be aligned with you for it to really work. Because to see out a vision or a goal, particularly if it's a big one, you need the energy and the passion that's going to take you through those times where you're not in the mood and you're tired, or you're feeling uninspired. And we all have those blocks where we just think, oh, I can't do this. But when you have that vision and it's connected with your heart and soul, and you're passionate about it, there's a bigger reason to do it. And that's what will carry you through. So do please share, if you're comfortable, any visions that you had, however wild and wonderful they are. I think sharing it helps to bring it to reality. You never know who in your circle might have some contacts, ideas, information, skills that would help bring that into practice. And the more clear we are with that, the more we can move in that direction. So any insights that you have that you feel comfortable sharing in the comments below, that would be really lovely to hear. And I'm going to wish you a very lovely, sunny rest of the week. And I'll be here same time next week. Take care. Thank you.